epics, all-dayers, long rides, marathons, no matter what you call them, they all require a little bit of planning and a bit of equipment to make things safer, more fun, and easier for you. So here are a few of the essentials that I take on long rides with me. Now, remember, I don't often take a backpack, so everything in my epics list is all things that you can take in your pockets or on your bike. Let's kick it off with one of these then, the Multitool. One of the most essential things that I think you can take with you, and something I will always take with me. Luckily, one of these little beauties has got me out of trouble, well, many times, more times than I can count, so they are incredibly useful to take. When I do take one, I'll always strap it to the bike because, well, look, they are obviously a good sized little thing, and you don't want to fall and have that in your pocket because it is bloomin' painful if you fall on one. So strap it to the bike, tuck it down nice and low out the way. You don't need to think about it then at all. Whichever multi-tool you do choose to take, I'll always make sure that mine has got a pretty comprehensive list of tools on it, so that all the various Allen key sizes that I know I need, the Torx bits, and almost most essentially, the chain breaker. There's nothing worse than snapping your chain miles away from home, not being able to fix it, and that's just a big old long walk of shame. So I'll always make sure a chain breaker is on there as well. Next up, along the same lines as that multi-tool, is a tube and CO2 canisters, and a pump, of course. Now, having a tube, it's a no-brainer. If you get a puncture out on the trail, you slash a tubeless tire open, well, sometimes, or quite a lot of the time, you're not going to be able to fix that. So you're going to have to stick an inner tube in there. So that is where that bad boy comes in. I'll always make sure it's a fairly fresh tube as well, not one that's been folded up for ages and potentially already punctured, because well, that would be a stinker. CO2 cartridges, well, if you do puncture a tubeless tire, you can bang some air in them real quick or pump that tube up really fast. But just make sure I'll always have the adapter on me as well at the same time, because if you ain't got the adapter for the end of those cartridges, well, ain't no point having no cartridges. And then finally, a pump as well. Just a small handheld pump. Can either go in a back pocket, very rarely, or attach it to the frame as well. It's just, obviously, if you run out of CO2 cartridges, then I've got my pump to fall back on to inflate anything to where it should be. Again, those are strapped to the bike because, well, they're pretty bulky things and you don't really want that rattling around in your pockets. Tubes, multi-tools, strapped to the bike, lovely jubbly. A mobile phone and a GPS are generally two bits of modern day tech I won't leave for a ride without. And even if I don't have my GPS device with me, my mobile phone is always an essential I'll keep in my back pocket. They're perfect for navigation if I'm riding that route blind and I need to find out where I'm going. Or in that worst case scenario, I can obviously give someone a ring, signal permitting, and hopefully get me out of trouble. Daddy? Dad? Slight problem, Dad. I'm a little bit lost. I don't suppose you could come and get me? Yeah, probably best bring a Mars bar as well. Thanks, Daddy. Bye. Obviously, I hope that never happens. I'll also always make sure it's fully charged before I do head out for a ride. Just be careful it doesn't take over the ride though. You're there to go for a spin, not to take pictures and crap like that all the time. Big rides mean big calories. It's pretty tricky to obviously jam a roast dinner down your back pocket or a pie or something like that. So that is exactly where these things come into play. Energy gels and energy bars are an essential I will always take with me because you can take quite a few of them. They don't take up too much space, and if you time when you're going to eat them, you can actually generally take as many as you need to last you throughout the day. Granted, these kinds of things are no substitute for real food, like I said, but as a space-saving win, they are definitely way up there. But just be careful. Consuming too many of these too quickly can, well, have some pretty adverse effect on your tummy. Trust me, I know. Water. You cannot live without it. That is a scientific fact. And you're going to consume a lot when you go out on epic rides. So if I can, I'll always double bottle. And I'd recommend you do the same too. Obviously, if your bike permits it, if you can fit 2 water bottles on your bike, bingo bango, you're a winner, because you're going to go through a lot of the old H2O. If you can't, if you're only a single bottle bike, well, don't panic. Maybe it's just worth planning a water stop on your ride, or planning the ride around maybe where you can whiz into a shop or back via your house. But yeah, an essential I'll always take is 2 bottles. And I'll put some energy tabs in there as well to help replace things like all the electrolytes and salts and bits and bobs that I'll need. Double bottling, it's the way forward. This This next essential of mine is essentially a get out of jail almost free card. And that is actually your card and cash, or both if you can. They're always well worth taking with you because they take up no space in your pockets and, well, they can seriously help you out of some sticky situations. There's been a few times when I've actually had to use my cash or card to get extra food and water out on a ride. It was one, I remember, a particularly hot ride where I needed more water than I anticipated, so I had to pop into a shop along the way and top up. And I've even used them to get a taxi home before when my bike broke. I've even been in the case where the paramedics have actually used my card to find out my name when I've knocked myself out before in a remote area. So it just goes to show that this little bit of plastic can actually be really helpful. Apply directly to you or your bib shorts, Shammy Cream. This is something I will never leave without when heading out for the long haul on those big epic rides. And it is just that, it's a cream. And it's designed to help stop, should we say, chafing and irritation in places that you definitely don't want it. Large amounts of time in the saddle can be uncomfortable at the best of times. So anything that you can apply or do to make that a little bit easier on yourself is well worth doing, which is why this is always in the kit bag. And you know what? If you've not used this before, I'll be honest with you, it can feel a little bit weird. Now, you got to rub it into yourself or rub it into those bib shorts with a chamois, like I said, but it is going to feel weird. It's going to feel a little bit odd down there the first time you use it, but it's beautiful weather and I'm going to head out for a ride. So I think I'm going to go and apply some in the bathroom here. See you in a moment. Wow, blimey, that is hitting the spot. Oh, much better. Ready to go. I've got a little bonus essential for you now, something that can make your life a lot more comfortable in the long run. You know, you're out all day, you've eaten lots of energy gels and nature calls. Dun, dun, dun. You dive into the bushes, what do? You can't find any good leaves. Ferns, they're not gonna cut it. Look at the holes in that. That's just a mess waiting to happen. Always pack, and I mean always, some of that triple ply goodness. So soft. I mean, you just need it. Just always pack some toilet roll because I'm telling you, it's just better.
Experience?
Many experiences. Always pack toilet roll. There are so many times when the backup toilet roll has come out that I can't even count them on one hand, two hands even, or my feet because, well, it's just better, isn't it? You go down there with some of this stuff, you come out smiling. You go down there with an ivy bush next to you, you come out grimacing, and then you got to carry on riding. Nobody wants that. That's it then. That's my essentials that I'll always take on an epic ride. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. I hope they've helped you for when you get out and do that big old ride of yours next, but I'm off out of here. Nature calls. Thank you very much for watching. I'm gone. See ya.